And welcome everyone to our Wednesday session. And we're going to be recapping everything we've kind of talked about on how to go to a shelter, what that looks like, how you can help support the shelter, and just general information on what you should be doing. Oh, and great, Monica's here. And we can even ask Monica. Monica works, as some of you may know, at chief staff at a very, very busy shelter in Croatia. So it'd be really great to hear from Monica. What, if an animal Reiki practitioner came to her shelter, what actually would be the best way to get integrated? Because she's coming from a place of, as staff, someone who's completely overworked, stressed out, and how would she want to be approached? So I think that it would be really great to talk to her. So welcome, Monica. It's so great to see you, and we're welcoming Sue. So before we get into this, I want to remind everyone that the World Animal Reiki Day t-shirt fundraiser ends tomorrow. And a lot of people, it's really funny, Kelly and I actually, on the last fundraiser, we were at CARE in Popka, Florida. And it was the last day of the fundraiser to get, I can't remember what shirt it was. Oh, it was the new Under the Sea shirt. And we literally, it was like quarter to midnight, because it's 9 p.m. Pacific time, but we were in Florida. So it was like quarter to midnight. We had 15 minutes to buy our shirt. So I know people wait till the last minute, but whether you wait till the last minute or not, I encourage you to get the Ward t-shirt. I think, Jemmy, you bought a sweatshirt, which was so generous. Thank you so much. We only get like $5 per item, so it's not a big fundraiser for us. But what's more important is that these shirts and these sweatshirts and other items are really a great way to represent Sarah, represent what you do. I created that free handout for contacting your shelter. And in it, I put a bunch of pictures. Kelly, there's a lot of pictures of your students. And it was really cool because all of our shirts say meditate on the back, except for I think maybe some of the World Animal Reiki Day ones don't. But most of our shirts say meditate on the back. And what's really cool is seeing all these pictures of all these people in different shelters around the world. And they all have the same shirt on the back, says meditate. Maybe the front's different, but on the back, we all have that unity of we use meditation to help support animals. And I thought that that was so powerful. But for World Animal Reiki Day, that shirt is really powerful because whether you do Reiki or not, yes, it has the word Reiki in it. This is a day to honor all animals. So you honor animals. It's just a way to thank them, to see them as teachers and healers on our path as well. And I know Kelly's done events, I've done events where we just go to like a zoo or a rescue and thank the animals for all that they bring to not only our lives, but to everyone's lives that they see. And it's a really powerful day because the animals deeply understand it. And it's really cool. I know I've shared that how I've gone to the zoo and with people and the animals are just locked into you. You could be in a sea of people and you could feel those animals lock in because they feel your energy, they feel your intent, and they know that you're there to help support them. And that is so, so powerful for them and for us and for that human bond, human animal bond relationship. So get your Ward shirt because on World Animal Reiki Day, which is February 5th, the day before on February 4th, the Shelter Animal Reiki Association is going to host a live event. So it's just going to be an event on Zoom where we all come together and we just all give a shout out to animals. And every single person that comes is going to be able to say something. Now, it's not going to be your TED Talk. It might only be just a minute, but we are going to make space and room for everyone to say something about what they love. And we'll figure out how we're going to do that. We're also going to have some special speakers come and join us. Hopefully Taya Strom will join us. Hopefully Nicholas Pearson will join us. And then Sharon says here really quickly, she's looking forward to her 2 hoodies. They are the best quality, aren't they, Kelly? Yeah. They are literally the best quality.
I'm wearing one now.
Yeah, they're so warm. And what's really strange, we've been doing this since 2015, I think, with Bonfire. I have shirts that are that old. They don't crack. They don't thin out. You wear them all the time. Like Michael, my ex-partner, his whole closet is filled with these his favorite shirt because they're so soft. They're just such a beautiful, nice t-shirt. So we know that even though they're a little bit on the expensive side, you're actually getting really super quality. But going back to Ward, that Ward is going to be really powerful this year because we're going to get together on Zoom. So that means people from all over the world are going to be able to join us. And for you, Monica, we're doing it at, I think, between 9 and 11 a.m. on Sunday, February 4th. So you'll be able to join us because that'll be a decent hour for you, but also our other friends in England and Scotland, France and Italy, Colombia. We're hoping that we get as many people as possible. And of course, all of you to be there to share in that just celebration and to send. I mean, can you imagine if we get like 100 people, hopefully more, and all of us have that same energy of thank you and gratitude for the animals? I mean, that is a really powerful energy that we are sending out into the world. And of course, Kathleen's going to do a special World Animal Reiki Day prayer. We're going to get to hear from her about how she started this Let Animals Lead method and all of her years experience in Animal Reiki. And then of course you'll hear from me and from Kelly and hopefully some other people. So put February 4th on your calendar to join us and put February 5th as maybe a day where you light a candle or you go into a shelter. Or I know, Kelly, you mentioned when we were talking about supporting your shelter 2 weeks ago, you know, making cupcakes or taking in candy or doing something really nice to thank the people who care for these animals. Just a little nice acknowledgement that you're important and thank you so much. And this is World Animal Reiki Day. And it's a way to tell people about World Animal Reiki Day, right?
Yeah, and if you're a teacher, it's fun to get all your students together if you can. And go somewhere, you know, local. We did one year, we did a tour of like 4 different places that are Sarah members, different shelters and sanctuaries. And Beth Beecham was with me for a lot of that, and Judy Holmes. And so, you know, one day we went to one, next day, so we had one every day that week. So you don't have to do everything on that one day. You can spread it out the week before, you know, in anticipation of World Animal Reiki Day and post World Animal Reiki Day. You know, don't feel like you're locked into that one day.
And just, you know, take pictures of you and your animal. We put them on Facebook. You know, you submit them to the shelterreiki@gmail.com or just go to our contact page and submit your photo. And we put it up. We make a collage and we do a shout out. So it's just a really great way for all of us to come together just as animal lovers. Again, you don't have to have any Reiki experience to participate. It's just sharing that love of animals and that kindred desire to elevate them, to really elevate the level of respect that's being shown to them. It's just really about education. So that's a really fun thing. February 4th, a live event. We don't know exactly who's going to be there. And we'll do more details and do Kelly, I'm going to mute you, but you can unmute yourself. God, and I totally lost my train of thought here. So anyway, so we're going to be bringing everybody together on the 4th. So mark that down. It'll be 9 to 11. I'm pretty sure we'll do more details. I will send more details to you. And then of course on February 5th, do something fun like what Kelly suggested, or just do something at home, right? I don't know. It's so cold. Although I'll be in California, it won't be as cold in California. In Portland, it's always like I think we had snow one year. We couldn't go to the zoo. We had to cancel. So it's a little bit harder. I know, Kelly, for you, usually have snow, don't you? But you have to unmute.
We actually have no snow here. It's going to be, I think, 45 on Christmas, but we have been up at Little Red Barn Farm when it's like 20 degrees or 15 degrees, and we put our fingers in the wool of the sheep to keep warm. And then, of course, if they have them all in the sheep barn, it's actually warmer than you'd expect when they're all in there together.
Oh, yeah, when their little bodies are all together. I know you and I were there together, very close.
That was in February.
Yeah, and it was 1 degree, I think. So
it was brutal. You picked a really cold week.
And it was very snowy, but you know, it was a really fun time to go there and see the animals and just give our gratitude and our thanks. And it's just so adorable how the animals understand and they really support us. So just something to think about. And what's really cool, and I know that Kathleen will talk a little bit about this, and thankfully she's been talking more about this. For some reason, it's really funny how things evolve. But we were talking, and Kelly, I think you were there, about how she started how she created the Let Animals Lead Way, how she created her method of Animal Reiki way back in 2004. And it really was it was based on her experience with shelter animals. So she was doing human Reiki, right, with animals when she very first started out in 1998. And even when she started Animal Reiki Source in 2004. And when she wrote her book, I think in 2006, when it came out, so she probably wrote it in 2005. It was all based on human Reiki with animals, but a lot of them were shelter animals. And she started to learn very quickly that you can't use human Reiki with shelter animals. You can't use human Reiki with animals that are shut down. You can't do hands-on if an animal has been abused by someone with their hands. That creates fear and it creates distrust. So she learned through thousands of hours, and especially after she studied the more traditional Japanese method of Reiki, which is meditation based, she started to realize that that's what the animals wanted. And so her whole system, the Let Animals Lead method, is based on her experience with shelter animals. And that's why we encourage all of you, and that's why we created this series, for all of you to go to the shelter, because the shelter animals will be your best teacher, whether you're an animal Reiki practitioner or not. Going to the shelter and just sitting with them, sitting with them in that space of love and appreciation, you start to learn more about them. You start to become more intuitive. Kathleen and I were talking about this yesterday on Mighty Networks, that I did a talk about, my 3 top tips, which was really funny because my 3 top tips were nothing that we talked about in this series. So it was really quite interesting. And I will share what my top tips are. But we talked about how, going and sitting with shelter animals, and I know, Kelly, you can also talk about this, is that because we have to go inward, because we can't go outward, because we can't focus on the negative, we have to stay focused on the positive, that it in turn creates more intuitiveness within us. We become more intuitive. We become more sensitive to very, very subtle signs that, oh, you need to back up. And that's what Kathleen and I were talking about. It's like, it's not so much a no, it's, could you just back up a ways? And sometimes you have to back up quite a bit. Like I was sharing, and I know I've shared here about the gypsy horses at Remus. So gypsy horses are like the halfling horses. They're like half the size of the real horses. They're stocky. And how when we went there, the lead horse, I think it was Mia, she, like, her ears were completely back. And that is a sign of aggression. That's a sign of, I'm pissed off and I'm going to hurt you. And so we started to back up, all of us. It's like, whoa, because we came in there, right? Oh, we're Reiki practitioners. Oh, we're going to share this beautiful space. We're here to help. And Mia was like, excuse me, this is my herd. You are here in my space, my home. Get back. And so she came at us, and it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, we've got to back up. So we all started to back up, and she kind of went around us a little bit to get all of us to kind of back out, like in a semicircle. And then as we started to get where she wanted us to, her ears started to come up. And then as soon as we were all where she was happy, her ears were up and she trotted back to her place in the herd. And so, had we not been aware, we might have gotten hurt, because we wouldn't have seen, like, oh, Mia's coming at us. Her ears are pinned back. Her energy is, I'm not liking this. But it wasn't get the hell out of my pasture. It was learn some respect and back up. There is a place for all of you, but it is not close to my herd. Your place is farther around the perimeter. And once you're there, now I'll be happy. So it was just a really interesting lesson, one, on how we approach animals and how we come in like a bull in a china shop, like thinking, okay, we're going to try and fix everything that's wrong. And even if we're coming in just to hold space, you're coming into their space. It wasn't like we were trying to fix or we had negative thoughts or anything like that. But what we did was we were incredibly rude by coming into their home and insinuating ourselves into it. It'd be like if somebody came into your home and just started opening your cupboards and moving chairs and doing stuff. And you're like, wait a second, I'm letting you in my home, but back up and go sit down. Right. And that's basically what Mia said to us. But again, it wasn't a no. And some people, if you aren't trained or you're not intuitive, you might go, oh, we've got to get out of here. We can't be with these gypsy horses. They don't want Reiki. You know, this is where you get that whole, oh, our horse hates Reiki. Hey, Mary Lynn, happy holidays. Our horse hates Reiki, or, oh, these animals hate Reiki. And that's not true at all. What they're saying is back up. Like, I want you here, but you're here. You're coming at me on your terms and not on my terms. And it's disrespectful. And that's what I love about animals. They will show us that respect. And Kelly, if you want to kind of add to that.
Actually, I also have a really good story about that. When I was working at teaching at an alpaca farm, and I had 3 students there, and they went in to begin with the alpacas, which we normally did. And I was up on the hill watching the whole thing, and they got in there, and the whole herd just moved out of the, headed off quickly. And then they started doing their practice and meditating, getting quiet, and everybody kind of turned around and looked at them, and then went, gingerly back. And I always think that working at, practicing with the alpacas was such a great place to learn how to be gentle and mindful of your movements, and aware of your physical body and how you're presenting yourself to the animals, because they're skittish. And so, it's really easy for them to be scared off. But once everybody quieted, I was watching the whole thing. They just turned right around, looked, and they were like, okay. really, really go slowly but surely. So, yeah. So we have to really be aware of how we're presenting when we step into that space with an animal, especially if they're, in an enclosure.
Exactly. And so these horses were in a huge pasture. But you're exactly right. We have to be really mindful when we're coming into, even if it's at the shelter, you think, oh, this is temporary. This isn't really their home. I'm coming in. It actually is their temporary home. It is their temporary space. So,
and because of that, it's even more stressful for them. If you approach them when they're adopted into their new home, it's often a different situation altogether.
exactly. And so, like, just being mindful of that. Like, maybe you start out outside the enclosure. I know at Humane Society Silicon Valley, it was very hard to be outside the enclosure. It just wasn't comfortable. You couldn't even really sit on the ground. It just wasn't made up for that way. So going into the enclosure, just making yourself as small as possible. I'm here, and telling them it's not animal communication. I'm here. Meditate, you can join me. And then if you really get that, like, just completely shaking and everything, then go to a different room and offer distant Reiki and share that, and then maybe come back later, or come back the next day or a week later, and then see how it goes. But always respecting the animal's space. I mean, that's one of our top tips, don't you think, Kelly?
Yeah, that's so important. And interestingly, I went to the shelter on Sunday, and I had worked with a new dog who was they were concerned about her. So I went and I sat near her in the back of the kennel, and she settled down, and all the other dogs were barking and stuff, but she was very quiet. And then when I went back to work with her this Sunday, she came right up and looked like she was really interesting. And I got interested. I got a little closer, and then she just sort of like started barking at me. So I had to move really far away. Eventually, I wound up leaving the area and just doing it from another area. So we never know. I mean, from day to day, how they're going to respond, and we have to respect that. Just because they were really into it last week or a couple of days ago doesn't mean it's going to be the same situation.
Well, I think that once animals start to acclimate, then they have new challenges, and so they're not sure. So yeah, again, doing that, but being consistent too, right? Not giving up, like what Monica had shared in the series, how she didn't give up on Heart, even though Heart was very fearful, wasn't acting engaged, just going by and saying, I see you, I love you, you matter. Just always giving those reassuring words, and remember, words have energy, and so just always reassuring the animal. So don't ever give up on the animal. Always be consistent, and that's another one of our tips, is just to be consistent. But before we even go into the rest of our tips, really quickly, so Mary Lynn, thank you again for saying happy holidays. And I know that Wilma wrote, imagine Western Southern Newfoundland today is expecting a lot of rain. Oh, okay, yeah. So yes, the snow, winter is here. Winter is coming, and it is here, Wilma. But T gave a really great recommendation. She said that there is a book by Torrid Rugrass on signals on how dogs communicate with each other and people. And I think if you go to the shelter and you want to work with dogs and you don't know a lot about dogs, books like this are really invaluable. And also going through the training at your shelter, that's really, really important. If you love dogs and you want to learn more, go through the training at your shelter about that. Also, like same with horses. Yesterday, Kathleen was asking me about what was my favorite Reiki experience. I've had so many over the years. I know, Kelly, you have too. It's like impossible to name one, but I did tell her the one animal that consistently I love working with, that I learned so much from, and actually just changes my entire being every time I'm with them, is horses. And so if you don't know a lot about horses, read about horses. Kathleen has that great, equine Reiki book. But that's exactly. Thank you. There's Kathleen's book, The Heart of Horses. It's a wonderful book. And it's not just Reiki, it's really about that heart-to-heart connection with horses. And horses just are really amazing animals. But if you want to learn more, cats, I need to learn a lot more about cats. I need to be reading about cats. My sister has cats. They're so funny, and their little subtle signals, completely different than dogs. So, again, T, thank you so much for putting that recommendation up, but because it's a great resource. Go to these different authors that are talking about how you can read different signals. I think that Mark Bekoff has a really good one too. I don't know, Kelly, if you had any authors.
No, but I was just going to suggest that I just recently haven't worked with horses for a while because the horse sanctuary closed, but I just recently put it out to my community if anybody would be willing to let me do some case studies on their horses. And so you could try something like that, just some free sessions so that you could get comfortable with working with an animal you're not used to working with. And then you're also getting your name out there, which is really nice.
Yes, exactly. And that's, case studies are the best way for you to build your reputation. Case studies, if you can go volunteer, that is actually the best way to do it. So, okay. So Ruth says, his name is Urid Rugas, maybe. Rugas is the last name. So just look that up. Spell check always gets me. Turid. Kathia says Turid. So Turid Rugas is the author. So anyway, I'm sure there's a lot of other books. Thank you so much, T, for starting that conversation and for, yeah, almost, that's okay. It's almost as good enough with my bad eyes. Anyway, I can't even see. So, but I think that everybody just go to Amazon or go to Barnes & Noble, go wherever you and look for books. So let's get back to, why we're here, and we're just kind of bringing this all together. Yeah. And case studies are an amazing thing. So, get your name out there, go offer to do it. You can even do it I would do it on Nextdoor, the app Nextdoor. Just tell people who you are, what you do, and explain about this. And also this new little pamphlet, and I'll show it to you. I'm so proud of this. I am so proud of what I pulled together for all of you on this shelter, presenting to your shelter. But it's got everything. It talks about the benefits for people. It talks about the benefits for animals. And it talks about what this method, the Let Animals Lead method of Animal Reiki, really is. So we'll talk about that. But what we want to start with is we really haven't addressed one kind of contentious subject, but I'll get into that. So first thing you should do when you want to go share Reiki, or you want to even just go volunteer at a shelter to support their animals, right? So let's say you're not even a Reiki practitioner, you just want to go to the shelter to support the animals, but you're feeling a little insecure about it, right? Because it's a very heart-wrenching experience. So first of all, find a shelter that you resonate with. Maybe you find them on social media, maybe you find them through just friends, but find a shelter or a rescue or a sanctuary that you resonate. Now, the big question that we haven't talked about that does come up is kill or no kill. So I'm going to let Kelly talk a little bit about her experience with that. Just really quickly for me, Humane Society Silicon Valley was one of the first shelters I went to, and I thought they were no kill, right? Because they don't kill for certain things, but they couldn't say they were no kill because they did put animals down for aggression or for medical reasons. It just wasn't like the county shelter where it's a kill shelter and dogs are dying every week. It wasn't like that. So I had to ask myself, how do I feel about that? And for me personally, this is a completely personal take. I'm not sharing anything on the Let Animals Lead or Animal Reiki or anything. This is my personal take. There is no end to suffering animals. Even if we started to put down, hundreds every week, which I know they are, there's still no suffering. There's no end to suffering of animals. So for me, it was less about the kill shelter. These animals need it. And actually in kill shelters, they almost need us more because they need to know that they've been seen and appreciated before they leave this world. And that's very important to an animal. So when you think about this, it is a really hard thing, especially if you go to a county shelter. One of our Let Animals Lead our teachers, and she's also a member of Sarah, is Shelly Seitz, and she goes to the Arkansas county shelter. And, every day she's posting about different dogs, and every week she's putting a cry out for one that might need to be saved, that's really well trained or is a really good option for somebody. So she has that strength to do that, but not all of us do. There is no shame in it if you don't. Go to wherever you feel drawn, because wherever you feel drawn is where you're going to shine, and wherever you feel drawn and wherever you're happy is where you're going to be able to do the best work. So Kelly, I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic because when we did the NIH study or we were doing that research, I remember that was one of the questions on the form for the shelters, and what the director of one of the shelters I was talking to was really put off by that question because of the there is a possibility that animals in that shelter, even though they're not a kill shelter like we see, like you were saying, Leah, in the counties, there are situations where an animal is never going to be adoptable and there's just nothing else they can do. And when I totally agree that we can be that last thing that animal experiences, the pure love and joy and understanding and in the seeing of the animal before they go on to the next journey, right? And so I think that it's important that we're in both types of shelters, and also it's a real test of our compassion. Can we have compassion for a shelter that's doing that, or for the staff members who are forced to do such a thing that don't want to do it? It can be very difficult, and it's also starts when we go into a shelter and see animals who are dropped off or whatever, and for sometimes silly reasons to us, and unbelievable reasons that they just leave their animal at a shelter or tie it up outside or whatever. So we start right there with the compassion. How do we find compassion for those people, but also having compassion for people who are doing their jobs in the best way they can? And I've also seen a situation where there's a shelter that's pouring so much money into an animal with surgeries and all kinds of things because they don't want to be a kill shelter. And in the end, the dog is not going to make it. They're extending his life somewhat, and who knows how comfortable he is, but other animals could have benefited, from the amount of money that's being spent with this dog. So to make a long, just to cut it short, I think for our understanding, for compassion, for no judgment, that's really a great practice for that if we're working in a shelter that tests us sometimes with that kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that, Kelly. Yeah, I mean, I have strong opinions about that too. When we are spending tens of thousands of dollars, I remember there was this one horse. It was a foal, or a colt, and anyway, it had fallen off this cliff. It had broken its back. Probably should have been put down, but no. People wanted it was like $20,000 to get this horse up. The owner didn't even want the horse anymore. So the horse was going to go into shelter. And horses, it's so hard to place horses. You can place them, but because they live so long and they're so expensive, a lot of times they come back to sanctuary. I was on the board at Pregnant Mare and I volunteered there. And it was just heartbreaking how many horses would come back because the people either didn't take good care of them or, and so horses are a big deal. That would have been the most humane thing, to put that poor little baby out of his misery instead of funneling so much money. And I just remember thinking, and this again is my own personal opinion, thinking to myself, like you just said, Kelly, so many animals would benefit from this. Even $1,000 per animal. You have 20 animals could have been helped in a more meaningful way than trying to get this poor little colt who broke its back, who normally would be put down if it was at somebody's ranch and it broke its back, it would be put down. But no, you get advocates, and then everybody gets scared to be the person that, oh, I don't love horses. Oh, I don't care enough, so I can't put this animal down. It's so much pressure. So, and again, I love how you said, Kelly, no judgment, right? We can't judge what people are going through. It could be that somebody's family has a huge financial hardship, and the only thing they knew to do was to tie their dog up outside a shelter, knowing that someone would be there to get their dog. And yes, of course, it's a horrible act at the beginning, but we know the dog is going to be safe, or the cat is going to be safe, or whatever that is. So looking to that bright side, the dog is safe. The dog is now going to be cared for. Now the dog actually is going to get a lot more press because he was tied up outside the shelter. So, just really stopping yourself from that judgment. We never know what other people are going through. And especially in this day and age where people are really struggling hard and they're not able to take care of their animals, and they may not have any other choice. So not being judgmental. So really quickly,
if we're bringing that judgment into the shelter, we're not really representing Sarah, right? And we're not really representing Let Animals Lead method, because that's not what we do, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, not everybody that comes here is Sarah. I think
Right.
for understanding is that, yeah, of course, if you're a Sarah member, yeah, you're never going to do that or let animals lead. We really want to watch our judgment. But even if you're just an animal lover, just having that understanding, knowing that, when we share compassion and non-judgment, it's shared back to us. It's mirrored back to us. So just always being in that place of just love and compassion. Of course, we're all going to initially think, oh my God, what an asshole, right? It's going to happen. We're all human. But if we can then get on top of it and say, actually, I'm sending love and compassion to this person. So
professionals also know the most humane thing to do for the most part.
Yes.
Right, for the animals. So
yes, they've seen this a million times. They know what's happening. So and then let's see here. So just going through, make sure you choose a shelter that you resonate with, right? And then if you're going to share Animal Reiki, understand the benefits of Animal Reiki. And I'll show you my handout that I'm going to be offering. And actually goes through the benefits, so you don't have to try and remember it. But for yourself, remember the benefits, why you're going there. You're going there because you can help support an animal. You can help share your love. You can help highlight, their day, uplift them, whatever that is. But just understand when you go in, because it'll also help strengthen you. Always having a positive attitude when you go in. So I talked about this yesterday as one of my top tips. If you go into the shelter with, you know what, I am going to be happy. I'm going to share my joy with whoever wants to share that with me. And at the same time, I'm also excited and I'm joyful, because when I go into the shelter, I am going to learn so much from the animals. I am going to learn from them. And I think that shift, knowing that they're your teachers and they're excited to share what they know with you. Like, if you go and sit and you don't know how to meditate very well, could you please help support me while I meditate? Oh, yeah, sure. They're always happy to be there for us. And Kelly, I know you have some thoughts about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, just really making sure that you, sometimes just going in and visiting and looking at the animals and, checking out, as somebody who might be adopting. I mean, they allow people to just come in and wander around and check out the animals, see if it's is a good fit in the way of, like, everybody seems, friendly and helpful, and, it's clean, you feel comfortable going there. Maybe check with your friends, where have they adopted from, and how they like it. So anything like that, bring a donation, walk in the door with a donation. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
And just so we want also, if you're going to go to the shelter, be consistent, right? Be patient, be consistent. Don't give up on animals, like we talked about a little bit earlier, but also just consistently, if you can, volunteer. If you can't consistently volunteer, then maybe you shouldn't volunteer. Don't go through the process, because they really need people to be consistent. And there's no judgment again. If you just want to go in, I mean, if you just want to go in and just share your love, just go visit the shelter and sit with certain animals, or sit outside their kennel, or just like look at different ones and go, okay, I'll send you distant Reiki when I go home. But if you're going to be volunteering, we just ask that you be consistent. Also,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So one other thing I know at our shelter, and I don't know if all states are like this, but if we're going in, we put our hours in a book for the staff, the volunteer coordinator, because they get funding based on how many volunteer hours they get. So I mean, I treat it like a job. I think Mary Lynn probably does too. I know she's very regular where she goes. And just being, like, okay, this is the day that I go in, and I let them know if I'm not coming, and I reschedule if I have to. But they get funding because of how many volunteer hours they have.
That's a really good, I'm just making a note. That's a really good point that we didn't talk about before. So thank you so much for that, Kelly. And then to stay neutral and compassionate, right, Kelly? Just always being neutral. Try not to get too overwhelmed or too overwrought with
Or
emotion.
attached, too attached. Like you said the first day, Kathleen told you don't have to save them all.
Right. Exactly. You don't have to say them all. You just have to go in and shine your light. And then to donate, there's different ways you can donate. We talked about that, whether it's supplies or skills or helping with shelter events, just be sure that you donate. If you don't have the time to volunteer consistently, then just go donate your time in other ways, or donate other things. Communicate what you're doing. Right. So I'm going to show you a pamphlet that I created, but you can communicate also. Kelly suggested leaving business cards. We talked about that. If you join the Shelter Animal Reiki Association as a practitioner member, now obviously you have to be a Let Animals Lead practitioner, but we have business cards for you. If you're only a community member, you can use this pamphlet, and I'll show you. There's a place where you can put your contact information. So it's really going to be kind of your calling card. So making sure that you are communicating it by sharing it with people. Maybe you have these pamphlets out that they can give out to other members of the board, or other high-ranking staff of the shelter. And then understand the shelter's needs, making sure that you understand what they need and making sure that you're filling that need. They may not need you to be a dog walker. Maybe they have a ton of dog walkers and you're like, well, they barely have any cat socializers. So maybe just understanding those needs and filling that for them. And then Kelly, be sure to stop me because I'm kind of going over a list if you have something to say and I can't see you. And then fostering strong relationships, right? Just making sure that you're always positive, that you care about the people that that you are volunteering with. And then be sure to do
and get the names of, know the names of the staff that's there when you're there. Like I go in when they're closed. So there's usually 3 people, but sometimes there are new people coming in. So I introduce myself so they know what I do and they're not wondering who is this person and she's supposed to be here, kind of thing. So make friends with the staff.
Yes, very good. And then bring little treats in every once in a while.
Yeah, I got a whole bag full right now.
Because it makes a big impression. It really, really does. And then, do your practice with the animals. And so however that looks like to you, maybe you do a walking meditation when you walk the dogs. Maybe when you sit in the cat socializing room, you sit and you offer just a beautiful space that way. But however that is that you're practicing, and shelter animals are literally the best teachers and the best way to practice. Don't you think, Kelly?
Yeah. And be flexible. Know that, you're not going to always have, the opportunity to sit quietly with an animal in a room and nothing happening but you and the animal and they're getting on your lap or whatever. That staff is busy and you don't want to be in their way. But also just be flexible on where you are in the room. I mean, you may have to be across the room from a little bunny in a enclosure because that's the only place to sit. So knowing you don't have to be right up next to them, that sort of thing.
I love that. That's really great advice, to be flexible. And I think that that's a really important tip for all things. Be flexible.
That's a pillar.
Be flexible in how you volunteer. Be flexible in every area. And of course, how you're sharing animal Reiki. We don't ever want to be like, well, I have to sit here. It has to be quiet. Could you please shut up? Could you do, it doesn't have to be that way. And I know that it's hard to get quiet in the shelter environment, which is another way it improves your practice, because you learn
Definitely.
in chaos, which I think is really important. So before I show the pamphlet that I created, I'd really like to open it up. So if you have any questions for me or for Kelly or for anyone else, oh, great. And congratulations, Mary Lynn's got a new opportunity. So that's great. So if anyone has any questions about what we've shared or any observations, you can unmute. Oh yeah, Mary Lynn, go ahead.
Just, I just wanted to tell Kelly, it is the Springfield animal shelter. I had been there before COVID, and I was well liked and such. And now they're allowing volunteers, and so the former executive director just retired, but all the same techs are there and they remember me. So when I made the phone call, they remembered me and welcomed me to come talk to us. And
Awesome.
yeah,
So we've got Southern Vermont covered because of you. Thank you, Mary Lynn.
Yay.
Yay.
Hey, well done.
You guys posted. Does anyone else have anything they want to ask or share, talk about? I'm gonna unmute maybe.
I just wanted to know about the case study. How would I describe, because I have a contact caretaker of horses and I do want to learn more. How would I describe, may I come because I'm work?
Yeah, I just tell people I want to get some, do some practice, and I haven't worked with horses, or I haven't had a chance to work with horses recently. And I want to just try, do some free sessions if they're open to it. And I do 4 sessions, so that, that's a typical sort of starter package, right? And I just do 4 free sessions, set it up with them, whatever their schedule is, have them see if they have any time to kind of sit with me while I'm doing it, or if they don't have to take notes, write down what you're discovering, how long the session is, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I can tell you more about it if you want to connect with.
Thank you,
Kelly. So anyone else have anything that they want to share or ask a question? Oh, Monica, I see that you're unmuted.
I just wanted to say that there are really great tips from all of you. It's, as you know, I'm a staff member, and yes, really, really good tips for volunteers.
Thank you. And so, while we have you unmuted, I would be really curious. So if someone were, and I know you're in Croatia and probably the chances of someone coming in are pretty slim, but let's say somebody did want to come in, what do you think would be the best, like who would be the best person to contact? And I know this is just general, right? Every shelter is going to be different, but I would really like, since you are staff, to just hear what you would like to see from somebody coming in and how you would like to see this presented.
Well, I think usually, so in Croatia, Reiki is not so popular yet. It's, I don't know. Even my colleagues don't know that I do it. I do it quietly, and I don't know how to say it. But for the volunteers in general, if they come, it is maybe good if they contact some of us. We can put them together with other volunteers, so it's easier for new volunteer if he comes with someone who is already there, and they can do it together at the beginning. We also have volunteers from all over the world who come to our shelter. We are in Workaway platform, so we give accommodation and food for volunteers who come for a longer period of time. So yeah, that's really great.
Wow. So people can come and volunteer and you will put them up. There's like a lodging place to stay.
We have a small apartment in the shelter actually, and they sleep and live there during their time volunteering for us, and we provide food for them, and they can stay. Sometimes they stay for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. So it's really, really helpful for us.
Wow. I would love to do that. I think that is
Yeah.
a really cool thing. I had no idea that you could do that. Because I mean, how wonderful is that they're going to help you, you know, stay there so it's not that financially draining and you get to go do a really good thing. I think that that's wonderful. And Anne said that's a terrific situation. Wow, Monica, thank you so much. I love it when Monica talks because she always shares something really like, what? So thank you so much for that, Monica.
And before I leave, I want to show you something. I just have to see if I can do that. You know, I have.
Oh, you took the puppies
in the living room. You can see them maybe.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Can you see them?
Yes. Oh, look at them. They're so alert. They're so listening to you. They're like, yes, Monica. Yes, what should we do? Oh my gosh.
They are now 5 weeks old, and I took them in when they were left in the field. They were just 3 days old, and I was feeding them with bottle, and now they are growing so fast and they're doing very good. So I'm really happy for them.
So what will happen to them, Monica? Will they go to the shelter or will you adopt them out from your home?
Yeah, I will see. I have a really, really small house, so I don't have so many space for them, because when they start to grow even more, I don't know where will I put them. So maybe they will go to another foster home, or maybe I will see they will stay here, but we will try to find homes for them soon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because in just a couple weeks, 3 weeks or so, they can be adopted, right? 8 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks.
It depends. If they stay in Croatia, then they can be adopted sooner and they can get vaccinated from their homes. But if they leave the country, then they have to be fully vaccinated and they have to be 3 months old, and then they can go.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That is so cool. I love that. 3 days old, and now look at them. They're so bonded to you. They listen to you. You could tell they just sitting there looking up at you.
Yeah, they wait for food. They always wait for food when when they hear me just standing up from the chair. They are just maybe food again. But they're really cute. It's really fun to have them.
Well, thank you so much. And Monica, would you do me a huge favor? Would you put the name of your shelter in the chat again, just in case somebody wants to look into that opportunity of going to Croatia and volunteering and helping not only your shelter and the shelter staff, but hopefully even volunteering, and then also volunteering Animal Reiki to all of these beings. And I think that would just be.
I will do that.
And
usually we need help. You know, it's hard work, it's dirty work. We usually need help with cleaning, with pouring water. You know, in summer they like to they drink a lot. They pour the water on them. They swim. They bath. In winter time, oh my God, that was the word. The water is freezing. So again, we need someone who will just replace the water. So we need help every day with just regular things, but also, of course, with walking the dogs, with Reiki, with everything. So you can always combine all the things together.
Absolutely. Well, if you're there, you know, you're there like all day long, and it's, you know, you have more opportunity to do all the things, to help with the necessities, and then help with the walking and socializing, and then also help by, you know, just even at night offering distant.
Yeah.
I think that that's really wonderful. Yeah, we'll have to stay in touch with you to talk more about that, which of course we're
Okay.
with you. You're a Sarah member, but I think that this is a really great, yeah, and Sharon applauded you. So thank you so much for that, Monica. Every time you come on, I'm so grateful because you always share just so much light and information. And we really appreciate the
Really
staff.
means a lot.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you. So we're kind of coming to time. What Kelly, do you want to do the meditation today? I mean, it's not time yet, but would you want to do the meditation? I always love your meditations, so that would be great. Thank you. So does anyone else want to unmute and say anything or ask a question before we get to the pamphlet, and then we'll close with our meditation that we do. So I'll just give everybody just a second if you just want to unmute. And if not, now Kelly hasn't even seen this because me being the procrastinator that I am, I did not get this done until like 2 o'clock yesterday, and my talk was at 3 o'clock where I was sharing. So, but I am actually really proud of this. So let me share my screen. And of course, if you have questions, just unmute yourself and you can just say it out loud as I'm sharing. But go here. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? And I'm going to shut down the chat, so please unmute if you have a question because I'm not going to be able to see it. So I'll go to the beginning. What I called this was enhancing shelter care through animal Reiki, an introduction. Meditation as a pathway to emotional well-being for shelter animals. So it says right away, yes, it's animal Reiki if they do know what Reiki is, but it also says meditation right there on that front. So right away, we're saying we incorporate meditation. I love this picture. This is Judy, isn't it, Kelly? Yeah, so this is a beautiful picture of Judy in the shelter wearing her Love Knows No Boundaries, which we're selling. You only have until Thursday to get it, and with the sweet cat. But I love this picture because it shows she's not touching the cat. She's meditating, and look how the cat is to her. You know, the cat is just very lovingly saying thank you. And I think it just encapsulates what we do. And it was a really powerful picture. So I really appreciate that. There's a little note from me just saying I'm the co-founder of the Shelter Animal Reiki Association. We have supported thousands of animals since 2008. We do this through the Let Animals Lead. And in this pamphlet, I'm going to share more about it. So I start by saying, who is the Shelter Animal Reiki Association? So first of all, here you go. You're going to say, I'm not a Shelter Animal Reiki Association member. What do I do? This is useless to me. It's not. It's actually, you can be a member for $50. That's the community membership. We ask that only Let Animals Lead method practitioners use this. And the reason for that being that it really wouldn't make a lot of sense for anybody else. If you were doing William Rand's ICRT, you're not doing it in the same way. So it's not even going to make sense. It's not even going to flow the same. And you'll get in there, what you're offering will be different. So if you're a Let Animals Lead animal Reiki practitioner, if you've studied the Let Animals Lead way, then this is for you. So I talk about who the Shelter Animal Reiki Association is. And again, even if you're not a member, the reason it's powerful to do this is because this organization, Sarah, uses specifically the Let Animals Lead method. So you can say, I am a Let Animals Lead method, practitioner, and here is information on how it's been used in shelters. So it's kind of like hey, I may not be a Sarah member, but Sarah has been using what I practice for years, and here's information about them. So I just kind of told a little bit about Sarah. I told Kathleen I was cracking up. I didn't even say that you and I co-founded it here. I just said it was founded. But I do mention separately, I'm a co-founder, she's a co-founder. So, but like here is a paragraph. Through this very passive method, the Let Animals Lead way, we empower the animals in their healing journey. In shelters, animals have food, water, shelter, enrichment, and medical care and play. But sometimes their emotional issues can prevent them from trusting humans and adjusting to being at this shelter. The Let Animals Lead method supports all aspects of healing. And we go into that a little bit here. And so this is a great picture because it's all Sarah members from a while ago. And then we have this beautiful picture. I added this of Kelly with Jean and behind the SPCA truck, because again, it shows how this is Sarah, we support shelters. And so it just talks about our respectful, ethical, hands-off methods complement the work of the animal care providers at the shelter and goes in there. And so I basically say, you know, this is how we're using it. We hope you will let us support you. And so then here is an introduction to the Let Animals Lead method. And there's beautiful Kathleen. And I just talk about how she created this in 2006, the Let Animals Lead method, right? She stopped using human Reiki then. And then how she is the founder, the co-founder of Sarah. She is the founder of the Animal Reiki Source. And then how she learned from shelter animals how to create this practice that we now use today, that it's all based on her many, many thousands of hours with shelter animals. So that is also very powerful to hear for a shelter. And then we go into the 6 pillars, which we all know because this is what we practice. And then here is a little summary of each pillar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it just explains each pillar to the shelter. And then we show here, and this is another one of Kelly's students here. And then I think this was maybe Cheryl's student. But I like this one because we don't use hands, but we talk about in the 6 pillars above, and I think a little bit here, about how we use hands when they're for comfort. So this dog is obviously coming as close to the cage as possible to be next to this girl. So her sticking out a little hand to give him some comfort shows that that's how we're using our hands. We're not using it to heal. And I love this one because you can see, again, the little cat is like reaching out to touch. I'm not sure if this is Judy or who this is, Kelly, but yeah, so reaching out to touch Judy. And then so we just talk about how it's helped. It decreases stress. It helps induce deep relaxation, helps them, you know, get over being shut down. And then how humans are helped. So as a Let Animals Lead Reiki practitioner, we know how to give chair treatments. So here are 2 situations. One's in the shelter, and that's one of Kelly's students in the shelter. And then here's another one. I love this one because you can see the donkey is getting involved in the chair treatment. So even though the chair treatment is for the human, the donkey is actually soaking up this energy and actually probably holding space as well for these 2 humans. So I like that as well. What does Animal Reiki look like in a shelter? Well, you can see a practitioner sitting here just with her hands. The dog is asleep. And this picture I felt was really powerful. Now, obviously, she's probably not meditating because she's crouched down and that's not a comfortable meditation period. But obviously, she's been meditating because all of these dogs are calm. They're at the front of their cages. They're not jumping up. They're not spazzing out. And it's funny because all 4 of them are just looking, right? They're calm. And so you can see where this could be really powerful to bring some level of peace. Now they might be looking at something, but they're not excitable. They're not jumping up. They're not stressed out. They're actually very, very calm. And that's a really good look for what we do, right? And this is from a class, so I'm sure they got lots of Reiki and they're very calm there. And so we just talk about, you know, how the practitioner will sit outside the kennel, but, you know, sometimes depending on the animal's temperament and the space, the practitioner may be inside as well, right? So we kind of cover it all. We also say that, you know, specific conditions in the shelter will dictate how we do this, meaning that we're not going to get in their way. And then a disclaimer about how Reiki is not a substitute for medical care or for what the staff and volunteers are doing. It's just a complement, a supplement. And then signs of acceptance so that they know, okay, what is it going to look like when an animal does accept Animal Reiki? And I felt like this was really powerful to include because they know, okay, this is how it helps. This is what it looks like for, you know, generally, but then what are deeper signs? What can I expect the animals to experience? And that's why we included that. And then this is Melly has this little dog in her lap. And I love this one of the cat because the cat is coming as close as it can and it's completely zonked out. So again, and usually cats, if they're going to rest in their enclosure, they're going to be in their bed towards the back. So this is a really good indication of Reiki being offered because the cat is completely towards the front, zonked out, and wants to feel as much as they can, as close as they can. So then I included why you can trust our practitioners. And this is really powerful and important because they need to know, well, okay, you're telling me all this, but why should I trust you? Here is where I talk about not Shelter Animal Reiki Association members, but Let Animal Lead practitioners. And this is why, even if you're not a member of Sarah, you can use this pamphlet. Because I talk here about why a Let Animals Lead method practitioner can be trusted. And that's because we follow guidelines, we have ethics, we follow the same type of training. And so there's consistency there. And so I say, not only is our practice grounded in the 6 pillars, but we also have a code of ethics that our practitioner adhere to. And I say up here that it is, okay, where is I can't read because I thought it was here where I said that we're the world's only one. Somewhere in here, I say that, how in the world, you're not going to find another organization or a method of animal Reiki as old and as consistent as ours. And so just a little bit about why you should trust us. And then at the shelter, our mission is to complement the incredible work being done. We're here to offer support to both animals and humans alike, fostering a space of love and compassion. So we're saying very clearly what we're there for. We're not there to change anything or to judge. We're there to help complement what they're already doing. And then I included a copy of the Animal Reiki Practitioner Code of Ethics, because it very clearly states what we do and what we don't do, right? We don't interfere. We do our own practice. We support shelters, etc. And then there's some testimonials. One of them is from Rutland County in Vermont, the Humane Society there. But we have 4 testimonials that I thought was and then I end it with a partnership for positive change. So as we conclude this, we hope that you'll allow us to come. So here is where the customization comes in. You don't have to have the advanced version of Adobe Acrobat to do this. I have made this a fillable form. So here is where you could put Mary Lynn Cartwright, you know, phone number. Oops. And then email, right? So they know where to contact you at. And then you can even put about me. You know, I've been practicing for so many years, blah, 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 blah. You can say whatever it is. It goes down. There's quite a bit of space. I wanted to make sure to leave. It goes all the way down to there, basically. So there's lots of space for you to write what you need to write and give your own personalized information. I was going to do this through Canva, but it's too hard for people to use Canva. And I thought doing it through Adobe, everybody can get Adobe Reader for free. And I think that you can fill it out. It's very easy. It's just like, you know, if you were to fill out a tax form or something, it's the same concept. It's just I mean, there's no place for me to, I guess I could put my personal information or put a little label there, but just know that at the very end, this is where you're going to click and put your information. And that way you don't have to have a business card. You don't have to have anything special. You just have to have this. And if you want to send it electronically, that's okay too, because you're still going to add your information here and then save the form and then attach this PDF to your email. The PDF is a reduced size, so it's only 3 megabytes, so it's very small. So you're going to be able to send it to the shelter very easily. So I'm going to, oh, we have some chats here. So let's see. Oh, thank you so much, Monica, for putting the name of the shelter. And then also, yes, Facebook is a great place. I went there. Oh, and then Jemmy, thank you so much for joining us, Jemmy. And then Sharon says this document is a work. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all this written information. For some reason, I can't print it. Can you please email it to me? Yeah, Sharon. And in fact, I think I emailed this yesterday, but I will just double check on that. And then Anne says, thank you. Yes. So you will have access to this. You can email me. I'm probably not going to put a link to this. I'm not going to add it to the recap email because we have so many people that aren't Animal Reiki practitioners on our email list. But you can get this if you're a Sarah member. It's going to be available in all levels. So community supporter, practitioner, and teacher will have access to this. But if you just are like, hey, Leah, I would really love this form, I'm happy to send it to you. For right now, we are going to be selling this for $15 on our Sarah site, just as a fundraiser. And it might even be something that we've tried to direct traffic to our website for. So that is, I'm going to stop share here. That is the pamphlet that I procrastinated on, but I think even for being a procrastination project, it came out pretty darn good. I realize I just don't work well unless I have a solid deadline and boom, boom, boom. So thank you so much, Ruth. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much, Wilma. So again, if you're interested in this, you can email me, leah@shelteranimalreikiassociation.org, or you can email Allie@shelterreiki@gmail.com, or you can go to our contact us on the Sarah website and just say, hey, I would really like a copy of this. And again, don't forget our fundraiser too. So yes, use it as a fundraiser. Oh, thank you so much, Anne. I'm glad you see value in that. And happy holidays, Ruth. So yeah, people are leaving. And so Kelly, we should get to, because I know oh my God, I'm so far over. I am so sorry, everyone. Oh, good grief. I had no idea. So Kelly, if you don't mind staying, if you have a few minutes just to walk us through
yeah, sure. You know, how much time do I have?
You have as much as you want. I mean, I'm sure people are still here. Happy
Okay, so yeah, everybody. Hi. Thanks so much, Leah. That is an amazing document. I appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you so much. And it really takes a load off the rest of us that we don't have to do something like that. So one of the benefits of being a Sarah member, love it. So we're approaching the solstice. So I think it's a great time to focus on our light. And I think, you know, heart-centered light today is the perfect thing as we are approaching the solstice and welcoming back the longer days. This is going to be the shortest day of the year. So taking a couple of deep breaths, just checking in with your body. I think it's really important to do that whenever we do our meditation. Just see how you are. Not trying to fix anything, just noticing, right? Just noticing, not feeling like you're sending any energy anywhere, just being. Give ourselves that time to just be and to take care of ourselves. Self-care is a huge, huge foundation for our practice. So take 3 cleansing breaths here. You feel a little bit more grounded. And now I just want you to bring your hands into Gasho. Take a moment to set your intention. And set that intention for whatever resonates with you today. And this is a good time also to invite in any companions, any animal companions, or even people that you wish to share this beautiful heart-centered light with. And when you're comfortable with that you have a strong intention, you can bring your hands and place them over your heart, or you can keep them in your lap, whatever feels comfortable for you. And I want you to focus on your heart center. Breathing in and out. Just with your mind, your attention on your heart. Place of love and compassion, kindness. And I want you to visualize a beautiful sphere of light in your heart center. This is the light that is within inside of you at all times. And even though sometimes we don't feel it, it's still there. The more we bring our attention to it, the stronger that light gets. So focusing on your heart, focusing on the sphere, feeling that with every breath in, that sphere is getting stronger and stronger. This light can be any color that feels healing for you, feels like love, feels like compassion. Breathing into the heart. Taking nice long breaths, no rush here, just breathing in and out. Mind and focus on the heart center, on the sphere and the heart. Visualizing it growing with every breath, strengthening with every breath. So that light is filling your entire being with the very center point at your heart. Breathing in and out. Visualizing that light expanding further outside of your body. Through the skin, through your aura, and out as far as you can go, out into the universe. No, there are no boundaries in light, no boundaries in this energy. Just breathing in that light, and feeling the light within, that sphere of light in your heart center. Filled with love and compassion, healing, gratitude, kindness, and joy. Feel that light going into the world, inviting in the animals and friends that you've brought into this session, asking them if they want to receive, letting them know they don't have to. Take 3 breaths here into the sphere and expand the sphere, and then relax. Relaxing your breath, and just have that knowing or that feeling that the light is expanding and you are the center of the sphere. Your heart center is the very center point in this sphere of healing light. And just sit in that, relaxing, feeling the healing, feeling the love, compassion, gratitude, joy of being in the light. Reminding yourself, saying 3 times, either aloud or in your mind, I am the light, I am the light, I am the light. And now thanking those who have come to be with you in the light. And also feeling that beautiful light coming back to you, back to your heart center as you begin to let go of this practice. Remembering always that you are the light. Taking a nice deep breath in, out. Bring your hands back into Gasho and gratitude. Whenever you feel ready, open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That was beautiful. And if
Welcome.
you want more of Kelly meditating, be sure to visit her website, heartsongreiki.com, because she has links to her Friday Reiki Boost and also her every other week Animal Reiki meditations too. So it's a great way to get more of Kelly and more of this beautiful energy. So thank you so much for that, Kelly. And we are now going to end. Thank you all. Happy holidays. We will not be back until January 10th. I think that's that Wednesday. So in the meantime,
Second Wednesday?
yeah, the second Wednesday.
Yep.
Wish all of you the very best holiday and an amazing Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Merry, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Monica, for coming from Croatia. I can't wait to go there.
Me too. I'm on that one. I was like, yay.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Good to you.
Holidays.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.